She who walks alone is not lost. She simply refuses to follow a path paved by someone else. Sigma ladies, you know the drill. The road less traveled isn't just a poetic phrase for us. It's a lifestyle. But let's be real. Walking this untamed path comes with its own twists and turns. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when you realize you're not like the rest, when your growth feels like an evolution rather than a transformation. Today, we're diving into the 10 unexpected stages every Sigma female goes through, the ones no one talks about, the ones that shape you into the powerhouse you are. Before we dive deep, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join the Sigma Ladies tribe, where we embrace the chaos and turn it into power. Now, let's begin. 1. The Silent Rebellion. It doesn't start with a dramatic moment or an external revolution. It starts within. The Sigma female's rebellion isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself to the world. It begins when you wake up one day and realize that the expectations, social rules, and conventional paths laid out before you feel suffocating. They don't make sense, and more importantly, they don't feel like you. Unlike an alpha who might push against authority head-on, or a beta who conforms to the crowd, the Sigma female rejects quietly but powerfully. She simply stops playing the game. No grand speeches, no fiery confrontations, just a quiet yet absolute detachment from anything that doesn't align with her essence. This stage can be disorienting at first. You might find yourself withdrawing from activities you once tolerated, from conversations that feel empty, and even from people who don't understand your shift. You begin to question why you ever followed the crowd in the first place. The hardest part? Realizing how much of your life was shaped by external expectations rather than your true desires. But this stage is also the most liberating. The moment you stop trying to fit in, you begin to stand out, not because you want to, but because you can't help it. The silent rebellion is the Sigma female's first step toward an unshackled existence. It's not about being against the world. It's about finally being for yourself. 2. The echo of emptiness. Once you detach from the noise of the world, you might expect to feel free, empowered, invincible, and you will, but not immediately. Before the Sigma female fully steps into her power, she faces a phase that most people aren't ready for: the void. This is the stage where the silence becomes deafening. After years of being surrounded by the hum of societal expectations, peer pressure, and surface-level interactions, the sudden absence of it all can feel unsettling. You might start wondering, did I make a mistake? Am I isolating myself too much? Here's the truth. This emptiness isn't a void. It's a blank slate. It's not loneliness. It's clarity. But understanding that takes time. Many Sigma females in this stage experience an existential questioning of everything. Without the distractions of superficial connections or the safety net of conformity, you start asking, what do I actually want? Who am I without societal labels? These questions are uncomfortable because they force you to confront yourself without external validation, without borrowed identities, and without filters. But this stage is where true transformation begins. It's in this silence that you finally hear your own voice. The world will try to pull you back in with temptations of comfort and familiarity. People may misunderstand you, and some may even call you cold or distant. But in reality, you are simply detoxing from the noise. This stage separates the weak from the strong. The ones who fear solitude return to the herd. The ones who embrace it, they emerge with an unshakable sense of self. And that's where the true Sigma journey begins. The mirage of belonging. At some point, after embracing solitude and detaching from the expectations of society, the Sigma female will feel an odd pull, a whisper in the back of her mind that suggests maybe, just maybe, she should try to fit in again. This isn't weakness, it's simply human nature. After all, for most of history, survival depended on belonging to a group. Even the most independent minds sometimes wonder if the path of least resistance might be worth exploring. So she experiments. She dips her toes back into social settings, engages in group dynamics, and even tries to maintain surface-level conversations that once felt like second nature. She might reconnect with old friends or force herself to engage in small talk at a social gathering. For a brief moment, she convinces herself that maybe she was overthinking things, that perhaps she was too quick to reject the norms of society. But the illusion doesn't last long. The moment she re-enters these spaces, a deep discomfort sets in. Conversations feel forced, obligations seem unnecessary, and the social structures she once questioned now seem even more fragile. What once felt like a struggle to belong now feels like an outright rejection of her nature. This stage is crucial because it acts as a final test. It confirms once and for all that the Sigma female is not merely going through a phase. Her independence is not an act, it's an essential part of who she is. The realization can be bittersweet. There may be a sense of loss in knowing that she will never truly blend in. But there is also relief, because she now understands that the need to belong was never hers, but rather a lingering remnant of societal conditioning. The mirage of belonging is the last time she will ever doubt herself in this way. From here on out, she stops questioning whether she fits into the world. Instead, she starts building a world that fits her. The lone warrior's doubt. Even the most self-sufficient warriors have moments of doubt. The Sigma female, despite her independence, is still human. And humans by nature crave connection, just not at the cost of their authenticity. This stage comes in waves. One day she feels invincible, untethered from expectations and fully aligned with her vision. The next day she wonders, am I missing out? She sees groups laughing together, couples sharing moments, teams working in sync, and for a fleeting second she questions whether she made the right choice. The lone warrior's doubt isn't about regret, it's about comparison. The world constantly reinforces the idea that happiness is found in shared experiences, in deep connections, in belonging. And while the Sigma female values meaningful relationships, she also recognizes that the depth she seeks is rare. This doubt lingers in the form of fleeting thoughts. It makes her wonder whether she is too independent, too detached, too unapproachable. But just as quickly as it arrives, it fades, because she remembers the alternative. She recalls the feeling of being drained by shallow relationships, of being misunderstood in large groups, of feeling confined by the expectations of others. This stage is necessary because it strengthens her resolve. It reminds her that her independence isn't just a reaction to the world, but a conscious choice. And once she emerges from this doubt, she becomes even more certain of who she is. No longer does she envy those who belong, she pities those who cannot stand alone. 5. The intuitive awakening. At this stage, something profound happens. The Sigma female stops looking outward for answers and starts relying entirely on her intuition. This is the moment she realizes that the external world has been conditioning her to doubt herself all along. Every rule, expectation, and standard she was taught was designed to keep her in check, to make her second-guess her instincts. But now, she stops asking for permission. This is where a Sigma female's perception sharpens. She begins seeing through people with almost eerie accuracy. Their words no longer fool her. She reads between the lines, senses energy shifts, and detects dishonesty before it even manifests. Where others need explanations, she relies on instincts. Where others hesitate, she moves with quiet certainty. This stage can feel both empowering and isolating. When you start trusting yourself on an unshakable level, you naturally drift away from those who still rely on external validation. You notice how many people are trapped in cycles of doubt, seeking guidance from sources that don't have their best interests at heart. It becomes frustrating to watch because you know they're capable of more, yet they refuse to break free. This is also the stage where the Sigma female realizes that her power lies in subtlety. She no longer needs to prove her intelligence, argue her point, or seek approval. She simply knows. Her intuition is now her guiding force, and that makes her nearly unstoppable. 6. The purge of the unnecessary. Once the Sigma female embraces her intuition, an inevitable purge begins. Everything that no longer serves her, relationships, habits, distractions, gets eliminated without hesitation. This isn't a dramatic, emotional cleanse, it's a strategic removal of dead weight. She doesn't cut people off with hostility, she simply withdraws her energy. No explanations, no warnings, just silence. Friends who drain her, gone. Commitments that feel forced, cancelled. Beliefs that no longer align, replaced. This stage is brutal in its efficiency. It's not about loneliness, it's about mental clarity. The Sigma female understands that in order to operate at her highest level, she cannot afford unnecessary baggage. Unlike others who hold on to things out of fear, nostalgia, or obligation, she lets go with ease. The reactions to this purge vary. Some people get offended, feeling entitled to her time and attention. Others try to guilt-trip her, reminding her of past connections. But by now, she's immune to manipulation. She doesn't explain herself because she doesn't owe anyone an explanation. This is the moment when the Sigma female stops entertaining distractions and starts embodying true efficiency. She becomes a force of nature, one that moves with purpose, never weighed down by the irrelevant. The power of indifference. At this stage, something remarkable happens. The Sigma female stops reacting. She no longer feels the need to justify her actions, defend her choices, or prove her worth. The noise of the world, the opinions, the expectations, the social games becomes exactly that, noise. She hears it, but she no longer lets it affect her. This is the true power of indifference. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being untouchable. People can criticize her, misunderstand her, or try to provoke a reaction, but they fail because she simply doesn't care. Not in a rebellious way, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that says, your words hold no weight here. The world expects women, in particular, to seek approval, to be agreeable, to soften their edges. The Sigma female does none of that. By now, she understands that approval is a currency she never needed to trade in the first place. Some might mistake her silence for weakness. They might assume that her lack of reaction means she doesn't have an opinion or that she's incapable of defending herself. What they don't realize is that her silence is a strategy, not a limitation. She chooses her battles wisely, and most of the time. The battle isn't even worth her time. This stage is a turning point because it grants her absolute freedom. No one can manipulate her through shame, guilt, or pressure. She is no longer controlled by society. She is now in control of herself. 8. The disruption effect. This is the stage where the Sigma female starts causing disruptions without even trying. Her mere presence challenges the norm. She doesn't conform, she doesn't seek validation, and she doesn't operate within the usual power structures. And that terrifies people. Colleagues feel unsettled because she doesn't engage in office politics. Friends feel insecure because she doesn't overshare or seek approval. Men feel intrigued and intimidated because she doesn't play the usual games. The disruption isn't intentional. It's a side effect of being completely self-sufficient. People are used to dealing with those who need external validation, who seek approval, who react predictably. The Sigma female does none of that, which makes her an anomaly. At this stage, she starts noticing how people either gravitate toward her or pull away in discomfort. There's rarely an in-between. Some admire her and want to learn from her, while others feel exposed in her presence, as if her independence highlights their own insecurities. This is the stage where the Sigma female fully understands her impact on the world. She's no longer just navigating life for herself. She's disrupting systems, challenging expectations, and, whether she intends to or not, forcing people to rethink the way they operate. 9. The unshakable era. This is the stage where the Sigma female becomes completely untouchable. By now, she has gone through doubt, self-discovery, isolation, and transformation. She has learned to trust her instincts, remove unnecessary distractions, and navigate the world on her own terms. And at this point, nothing shakes her anymore. Criticism? Meaningless. Pressure to conform? Laughable. Attempts to control her? Impossible. She no longer second-guesses herself because she knows who she is and what she stands for. There is no longer a need to explain, prove, or justify. Every decision she makes is intentional. Every move is precise. She operates at a level of self-awareness that most people will never reach. People notice this shift. There's something different about her now, a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation, yet commands respect. She doesn't demand attention, yet she gets it. Not because she tries to stand out, but because she naturally does. At this stage, others might try to challenge her, just to see if she can be rattled, but they fail. The Sigma female has reached a level of mental and emotional strength where nothing external can break her peace. She walks into rooms knowing exactly who she is. She faces life knowing that regardless of what happens, she will handle it. This is the moment when she realizes she has finally become the force she was always meant to be. 10. The unapologetic becoming. This is the final transformation. The moment when the Sigma female stops playing by any rules but her own. No more compromises, no more people-pleasing, no more explanations. She has fully stepped into her power. She no longer cares if people misunderstand her. She doesn't waste energy proving herself to those who will never get it. She moves with certainty, knowing that she is the architect of her own life. At this stage, she starts building her own empire, whether that's in business, personal growth, or simply creating a life that is 100% aligned with who she is. She stops shrinking herself to make others comfortable. She stops filtering her opinions to keep the peace. She lives unapologetically, without hesitation or restraint. And the best part, she wouldn't have it any other way. She has evolved from questioning herself to owning every single part of who she is. The journey wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Because now she is free in a way most people will never be. Sigma ladies, if you've made it this far, you already know this path isn't for the weak. It's not for those who need approval, validation, or a constant support system. It's for the rare ones, the untamed ones, the ones who rewrite the rules instead of following them. This journey has its challenges, but it leads to ultimate freedom. If you've experienced these stages, or you're still navigating them, know this: you're exactly where you're meant to be. Let me know in the comments which stage you're in, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and join the Sigma Ladies tribe, where we walk alone but never feel lost. Until next time, keep moving in silence and striking with power.